9:20 a.m. So that was the Titanic. With so many dockside structures and smaller vessels blocking his view, Albert couldn't see the entire outline of the ship from the train window. But he saw enough to appreciate the liner's size. Her enormous mass overshadowed the shipping offices, and her row of funnels looked like 4 stubs of broomstick rammed into an oval wedding cake. From his reading, Albert knew all about the Titanic. Her 9 decks made her as high as an 11-story building, and she was 882 feet long, almost equal to 4 city blocks. If stood on end, she would be taller than any skyscraper in the world, even taller than the lofty Washington Monument, which dwarfed all the buildings in Albert's own city, and had always seemed to him like the finger of God pointing toward heaven. Excitement burned again in Albert's stomach. While Mother, in her plumed hat, leather gloves, and silky fur stole, sat nervously on the edge of her seat, and Virginia swung the twins-in-a-cradle plaything that Mother had folded from a handkerchief, the train shuffled through Terminus Station, crossed Southampton's Canute Road, and lumbered to a stop beside the platform running parallel to the quay. "Southampton Dock!" called the conductor, and hordes of people swarmed up the aisles, through the open doors, and down the thumping metal steps. The wind blew briskly. Above the murmurs of the crowd, Albert could hear flags and pennants whipping on their poles. Most dockside buildings and ships in port flew at least 1 ensign. The Titanic displayed 2. A blue flag waved from the liner's stern, and a red pennant with a white star flapped from her mainmast. The star was the symbol of the White Star Line, a luxury steamship company operating out of Britain. But Albert knew the real owner was J.P. Morgan, an American millionaire, even richer than Colonel John Jacob Astor, who, the newspapers reported, would be sailing on the Titanic today. As porters unloaded luggage from the train and set it on huge trolleys, Uncle Clay approached a man in a blue uniform. "Where do second-class passengers board?" Mother shivered slightly, but Albert seemed to be the only one who noticed. The man pointed with an elbow. "Gangway aft, that way. No hurry, though, if you'd like to see the town. She doesn't sail till noon." Uncle Claiborne turned to Mother. "Would you care to walk around the town?" Holding Virginia's hand, Mother addressed Albert. "Tell your uncle no thank you." Albert ignored the request, but Virginia transmitted the message for him.
"Mum says no thank you," she piped.
Uncle Clay looked icily at Mother, but she pretended not to notice. He jerked his head stiffly. "Very well, come on." He started off briskly in the direction the officer had pointed, Mother and Albert following more slowly with Virginia. Ooh-wee-oo. Suddenly the ship's siren blared. Birds fled. Window panes clattered. Virginia jumped.
"What was that?"
One of the porters pushing a nearby trolley stopped to answer.
"Breaks your eardrums, that whistle, and it's been blasting all morning, telling people the Titanic will sail today. Well, I for one would believe it without all that noise." "Mum and Albert and I are going to America on the Titanic," Virginia offered. "That right. But Mum and I don't want to." Well, and why not?" "We want—"
Mother pulled on Virginia's hand. "Come along, dear." The 3 of them hurried until Uncle Clay was only a few feet ahead of them. Passengers were boarding the ship on several gangways, both fore and aft, but Uncle Claiborne walked past a gangway marked 3rd class and headed for another. Virginia studied a sign they passed.
"RMS Titanic," she read.
For once, Mother smiled. "Why, that's wonderful, dear. Did Miss Harcher teach you to read Titanic?"
"Mm-hmm. And she taught me what RMS means. Royal Mail Steamer. That's because the Titanic carries letters all the way across the ocean."
"Very good," said Mother. "I'm proud of you. Miss Harcher did a fine job teaching you your letters."
"So why can't we take her to Washington?"
Mother's smile dissolved. "Hurry up. Uncle Claiborne has our tickets. We have to stay with him." Albert heard the squeak of pulleys as huge electric cranes hoisted steamer trunks and boxes to the upper decks. There seemed to be hundreds of porters and crewmen scurrying about to get the quantities of luggage and milling passengers on board. Ahead, Uncle Clay had paused to wait for the rest of the family. "This way. This is our entrance." All 4 Trasks joined the throng of second-class passengers funneling up the long, steep gangway to the sea-deck entrance of the ship. The officer who greeted them smiled warmly, then checked Uncle Claiborne's tickets against the passenger list. "You'll be in cabins D66 and D68. That's 1 deck below by the second-class dining saloon. The stairs and lift are straight on."
"A lift!" cried Virginia. "Just like Harrod's." "Won't that be splendid?" said Albert, trying to cheer the grown-ups. "An elevator in second class. We didn't have an elevator in first class coming over."
But Mother didn't speak as they walked in the direction the officer had pointed. Not in the hallway with the thick red carpeting. Not in the wood-paneled elevator. Not even to the youthful cabin steward who met them in the hallway and told them his life story as he unlocked their rooms.
"I'm George Sloane from Southampton. You can call me Georgie. With the coal strike what's been going on, crews on all the ships has been out of work since January, but me and Papa turned out last week for the Titanic hiring and both of us were signed on. Bit of luck, what? Me Papa's a restaurant steward in first class. Me Mum's home with 4 little ones, so she'll be glad to see those wages coming in again. I've been a page on White Star ships for 3 years, but this was the first time they'd take me as cabin steward. That's 'cause I'm growed up now. 17.
Georgie turned bright-eyed to Uncle Claiborne.
"Well, I expect this is the cabin you and the missus will be wanting. It's got that elegant double bed. Genuine brass it is. The other room has 2 bunks, such as the crew sleeps in."
Uncle Clay put one gloved hand to his mouth and coughed nervously. Mrs. Trask is my sister-in-law. I'll be sharing a room with my nephew. He and I will take the other room, if it's all right with him." Albert nodded.
"Sorry," said Georgie. "No offence. I saw Mr. C. Trask and Mrs. K. Trask on the passenger list and naturally expected you was man and wife."
Mother glared. This conversation wasn't improving her mood.
"Will the trunks be here soon?" "Yes, missus, I expect they will. The porters are working fast as greased magic to get everything aboard. Won't be long now. A button'll be bringing your things to your cabins right soon." "Button?"
repeated Virginia.
"Bellboy," explained Georgie. "Buttons is what we call the lads."
Albert smiled to himself. At 17, Georgie was probably younger than lots of the bellmen, but he obviously felt superior.
"Is there anything else I can get you now?" Georgie asked.
Virginia was trying to reach the faucet on one of the 2 marble-topped sinks.
"Does this water turn on?" "Yes, miss, it sure does. Hot and cold, 24 hours a day."
Georgie showed her how to work the faucet and how to empty the water afterward by lifting the basin up. Then he showed Mother how to work the space heater near the bed.
"It's a right elegant room, it is."
Georgie seemed to be waiting for Mother's response, but she didn't offer it.
"Yes, it's newer and a lot bigger than the cabin we came to England in," said Albert. "We came in first class," said Virginia.
Mother stared at the light fixture, saying nothing.
"Well, I'll be seeing to me other passengers then. If you need me, just ring that bell."
Georgie pointed to an electric bell on the wall.
"Oh, I almost forgot. I'm obliged, White Star Company rules, to show you the lifebelts. Nothing's going to happen. What you'll need them, of course, but I have to show you anyways."
He opened the closet door and pulled out 2 large white vests.
"That's silly," said Virginia. "Albert says the Titanic can't sink. He's read all about it."
Georgie winked at Mother.
"Wide awake little ones you've got there. Smart as whips. I've got me a sister and brother what's just like 'em."
Mother stitched her lips together, nodding slightly. Georgie headed for the door.
"Well, ta-da then."
"Thank you for your help. We'll be seeing you," said Uncle Claiborne. As the steward closed the door, Uncle Clay looked from the built-in sofa covered with tapestry to the cushioned wicker chair. He was probably waiting for Mother's invitation to sit down, but she stood rigid as a flagpole, the lavender plume on her wide hat floating like an ensign carried into battle. "Well, Albert," said his uncle, "shall we go to our own cabin?" Before Albert could answer, Virginia plopped down on the sofa.
"Oh, Mum, you and I could sleep on the bed, and Miss Harcher could sleep here. Why can't we take Miss Harcher?"
Uncle Claiborne scowled. "Because we can't, that's why, and I don't want to hear that question ever again, do you hear me?" Virginia sprang to her feet. Mother slammed her purse and satchel on the bed and charged over to Uncle Clay, the lavender plume on her hat bobbing up and down. "I told you not to interfere with my children. You're not their father. You may not discipline them." "Oh, for heaven's sake, Catherine," said Uncle Clay, "stop yelling like a fishwife. People can hear you all over the ship." "Oh, they can they? Well, that's no business of yours, Claiborne Trask. You and your mother may be able to control where I live, but you can't control how I think or talk." Snuffling noises were coming from the side of the room, and Albert looked over to see Virginia throwing herself on the sofa again.
"Oh, my stomach hurts," she wailed. "I have appendicitis."
Talk about actresses, Albert thought. Ginny could teach that Zora LaRue a thing or two. Mother rushed over to Virginia and stroked her head. "Oh, darling, where does your stomach hurt?" Virginia clutched her stomach.
"Here. It hurts bad,"
she sobbed. Uncle Claiborne spoke aside to Albert. "Does she have appendicitis?"
"Only when she doesn't get her own way. She knows appendicitis is what killed Father, and that Mother goes crazy when she hears the word. But Ginny doesn't even know which side of her stomach her appendix is on. Look at her, she's holding the left side."
Virginia moved her hand.
"It hurts here, too."
"Dr. Mendenhall said the pain can start on the left side sometimes," Mother reported. Albert rolled his eyes toward Uncle Clay.
"Mother took her to Dr. Mendenhall 3 times in London. He said Ginny doesn't have appendicitis."
Mother's nostrils flared. "He said he wasn't certain. Appendicitis is very hard to diagnose. Your father died because his doctor in Washington didn't diagnose it in time."
"I need Miss Harcher,"
wailed Virginia.
"Miss Harcher has medicine that makes my appendicitis better."
"Sugar water," Albert muttered to no one in particular. Mother pulled Ginny to a sitting position. "Help me, Clay," she cried. "We need to get her off the ship. We need to find a doctor right now." Now, Kitty, don't panic. I'm sure there's an infirmary on shipboard."
"A hospital," Albert confirmed. "It's on this level. We passed it when we got off the elevator."
"They can't operate on a ship," Mother cried. "What if she needs surgery?" "Calm down, Kitty. It doesn't help Virginia to see you lose control. And it's very likely the hospital is equipped to operate." "Don't just stand there," Mother ordered. "Ring for Georgie. See if he can get us a wheelchair so she won't have to walk." Albert rolled his eyes at the ceiling.